So the Witcher 4 trailer dropped yesterday. After so many years of speculation and trying to figure out what's going on, we finally get a glimpse as to what The Witcher 4 is going to be about and what's going to be like. I am a super fan of The Witcher. I've read the books 2 times. I'm very, very familiar with Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and The Witcher 3. I love The Witcher 3 to death. I think it's the best mainstream fantasy franchise out there. I like it more than Game of Thrones. I like it more than Lord of the Rings. I've even read a lot of the licensed Witcher comics, which CDPR also works on. And from that vantage point, after accumulating all of this Witcher knowledge, I can probably say a lot more about it than most people who are making videos about this right now. I've read the recently released Corvo Bianco comic, which takes place right after The Witcher 3. Geralt is retired. He's making wine at Corvo Bianco, really enjoying his life, learning the craft. He's living with Yennefer. Yes, Yennefer is canon, as the Corvo Bianco comic is franchised by CDPR. He's working there, and everything seems so great, but pretty soon he gets targeted himself by malicious forces. And Geralt, once again, has to go on the path and brace his sword and be a Witcher again. He comes back, at the end of the story, and he's back at Corvo Bianco, back with his wine, but he realizes that the world has never left him, right? He can't just escape from the world in Corvo Bianco. And his skills as a Witcher is always in demand, and it's always there. And one day he might have to go out again and do some more witchering. And this is where The Witcher 4 begins, because we know now that Ciri is now on the path. I'm going to watch this trailer without volume, and I'm going to analyze it and break it down. Everyone has seen the trailer already, so enjoy. So there's a ritual going on, and the woman's getting special treatment. She's getting cleaned up for the ritual. Okay, so we see the hand, a Witcher's hand, making a fire. Geralt has done the same thing, kneeling the same way, doing the same thing. It's a young woman getting washed, and you see a Witcher's sword. And of course, the uniform is different. It reminds me of Vess's uniform in The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3. Sharpening a sword. This is a wreath. This is very common in Slavic culture, traditional peasants' culture, where when people have weddings, they have special events, the women wear these wreaths on their heads. You can see this in Poland, you can see this in Ukraine, you can see this in Russia. So the wreath is placed on a young girl's head, 15, 16 years old, maybe even younger. Yeah, that's what they used to do back then. And of course, you see these villagers, and look at the way they're dressed. They're very familiar. If you played The Witcher 3, you go to Skellige, and they're dressed in a very similar manner. So I'm assuming that they're back at Skellige. That's my guess. It could be somewhere else. Who knows? Now you see the father, and the father was the one doing the voiceover. He was the one saying how he loves his daughter so much that he's going to sacrifice her to the monster, which the whole village believes to be some kind of god, and is going to save the town. Now, this story has been used before. It was in Skellige in The Witcher 3. It's called In Heart of the Woods. And the monster that the villagers worshipped was a Leshen. They were worshipping an animal. And a fun fact, most people don't know that in the heart of the woods, and this exact same scenario was once cinematic for Geralt and The Witcher 3. So they're actually going to use the exact same scenario for The Witcher 3, but instead they ended up using it for The Witcher 4 a decade later, which is kind of crazy. And of course, daughter loves the father, but she's also so brainwashed that she's gonna take this risk herself and take the burden of the town herself. Okay, now this is this shadowy figure, and it's obviously the Witcher, and it reminds me of Assassin's Creed because of the hood. Geralt doesn't walk around with a hood that often in the game. And now this is the usual trope, which was present since the Last Wish. You have a superstitious person, superstitious townfolk, villager. People don't like the Witchers. They're afraid of them until they get to know them, of course. They have prejudice toward them. Okay, so there we go. There's the reveal. That's Ciri. And Ciri has changed quite a lot. I think most of us, when we first saw this as Ciri, we were taken aback. She looks a lot different, and I'll briefly talk about the differences. First of all, her eyes, they've turned into cat eyes. So she's obviously gone through the trial of the grasses. There must be some kind of storyline behind it. And she's become a witcher. She's mutated herself, which is really unexpected. I think most people didn't expect this to happen. She looks significantly older. In the original promo for The Witcher 3, Geralt also looked different. He looked a lot more grim dark. He looked a lot less personable. And this version of Ciri looks pretty grim dark too. So I'm expecting that the Witcher 4 version of Ciri would look different than this CGI promo. She has this brown black braid over her hair, which she didn't have in Witcher 3. She's wearing a outfit that resembles the alternate outfit from The Witcher 3, except for one major difference. She looks more masculine. In The Witcher 3, and just like any other game or comic book 10 years ago, artists tried to depict women in a more sexy and pretty manner. So you have Ciri not wearing armor around her midriff to accentuate the feminine hourglass shape, the feminine curves. This version, she's fully armored, very serious, and it just looks like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. She literally looks like a character from Assassin's Creed, and it's Ciri. So this has already rubbed people the wrong way. And there's another difference is around her neck. She's not wearing the wolf medallion. She's wearing the lynx medallion, which was alluded to in so much of the marketing. And it really threw people off because when people saw the lynx medallion, they thought, oh, it can't be Ciri. It must be some create your own Witcher or the Lynx school. But it ended up being a trick. It's Ciri. So of course there's a story behind this, and we'll get to know what the story actually is. Now onto Ciri's face. Her face looks a bit older. I would say she looks around 30 or a bit older than that. Her face looks more rounded. In The Witcher 3, she had basically a female model's face, like really attractive, very sharp features. This version of Ciri has more rounded features, less distinguishable, more ordinary, I would say. And her hairline has been lowered. And this makes her face look significantly different, almost like a different person. So people have been also rubbed the wrong way. And she's talking to the guy and she's showing some attitude. And she has a different voice actor all of a sudden. And this also rubbed people the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way because I was so attached to the original voice actor for Ciri in The Witcher 3. That voice actor had a lot of personality. It had this youthful attitude that I just felt was so appropriate for the Ciri character. It's a voice that you strongly associate with the character. It's like changing Geralt's voice actor, or Yennefer's voice actor, or Triss's voice actor. Changing Ciri's voice actor is pretty shocking. And this voice is significantly different. Ciri's original voice actor was young, feisty, and had a lot of attitude, had a British accent. This one has it too, but this one sounds a lot older. She sounds more authoritarian. It just feels wrong. She's walking toward a scary place, and it kind of reminds me of Elden Ring. You know, the gates at the end of Elden Ring. Some of you will know what I'm saying. She's beckoning the monster to come. They never learn, they always believe in their superstitions. So we see Ciri here, and she's very agitated. She's very aggressive and very tense. which is kind of odd because she's supposed to have gone through the trial of grasses and they're supposed to have less emotion. She's supposed to sound like Geralt, act like Geralt, but she's not. And she seems kind of uncertain of herself, despite having all sorts of powers, right? Besides being Witcher, she should have the power of time and space. Obviously, other people have been sent here and they've met a horrible end. Now you see her fight a monster. It reminds me of the monster Henry Cavill fought in Netflix Witcher. Okay, so she's drinking a potion, and the potion is gonna make her face black and change her eyes. More proof that she's undergone the trial of the grasses. Okay, so this whole scenario reminds me of the first battle in the Netflix Witcher episode 1. But the head of the monster is different. I believe I've seen this head before. It was used on some of the monsters in Toussaint, and Geralt might have even fought the same exact monster. I don't think so though, but if any of you guys still remember what monster had this head, then please comment below. And the monster seems to make people hallucinate and hear voices, or it has a voice itself. So she's using Witcher powers. Is she going to teleport? She's supposed to teleport, right? That's the best way to beat these monsters. You have to teleport. Okay, so she uses more Witcher powers. Where are the Ciri powers? Maybe there's a story behind her Ciri powers. Maybe she lost them after the White Frost. Who knows? Okay, so she comes back to the villagers, and like so many side quests in The Witcher 3, it doesn't end well. Maybe her father killed her or someone else killed her. There's blood on the father's face. Okay, so Ciri's angry. Very angry, vengeful, rageful. Now, you don't see Geralt acting like this, right? He's a professional, so that's a little bit unprofessional on Ciri's part. Now, I have to say that for me, and I think for many people, Witcher 3 was a masterpiece that ended Geralt's arc, his character arc stemming from the books. And I really, really love how they developed the Geralt character. I even made videos on it. How they really made that character so legendary and so complex and so wise and so multifaceted in a way that he wasn't originally in the books. The Witcher 3 just turned him into an iconic character. And in my opinion, he was the greatest video game hero and the greatest popular superhero like ever, basically. I think he's the best. Ciri has really big shoes to fill because you got to replace the best with something as least as good as the best. And that's very, very hard. So going with Ciri will be a creative risk. And I've even heard that they even plan on making 2 more games with Ciri as the head. Who knows if that's going to happen? It is going to take a lot of work to make Ciri as compelling as Geralt. So there's been a lot of news about the Witcher franchise for the past couple of years. And there's a new Witcher book written by Andrzej Sapkowski called Raven's Crossing. And this is very intriguing as this book is about Geralt's first years as a Witcher, and the game Witcher 4 is about Ciri's first years as a Witcher. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of similarities, even though the two characters are different. Sapkowski has also been involved in CDPR again. So all his legal issues with CDPR has been settled, and they may have asked him to write the book. So it's likely that the game has a lot of Andrzej Sapkowski's influence. Going with Ciri is always going to be a risk because people are always going to compare her to Geralt, who is one of the greatest characters of all time. And she has to be at least as good as he was. But CDPR has great writers, and I'm cautiously optimistic. The ball is in CDPR's court now. The CDPR devs also promise much more advanced gameplay in The Witcher 4. They've learned a lot creating Cyberpunk and its expansions, and they want to integrate some of these new gameplay techniques into The Witcher 4. So there's going to be better gameplay, and they want to change Ciri's personality. They want to make the player in control of Ciri's personality. So depending on what the player chooses as Ciri in The Witcher 4, it will mold Ciri's personality and change the decision tree going forward throughout the game. So if she's a bad Ciri or if she's a good Ciri, people will treat her differently. And that's something that wasn't really in The Witcher 3. Yes, there were some minor changes, but most of the game was very much the same, whether or not you were bad Geralt or good Geralt. 98% was the same. So hearing that the devs want to make the main character more dynamic is very fascinating. So overall, I'm cautiously optimistic, and whether or not Witcher 4 is a bust doesn't really matter to me. Witcher 3 was just tremendous. It's one of the greatest things ever made. I'd call it a work of art. In the area of gaming, there isn't too many games that can be called a work of art. Witcher 3 is one of them. So I'm 110%, 150%, 200% satisfied with the Witcher franchise. It doesn't really matter to me. Even if it's like 80% as good, it would be amazing. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And check out the playlist. I have several Witcher videos that I spend a lot of time on. Comment below on what you think about Ciri in The Witcher 4 and if she's a suitable replacement for Geralt of Rivia.